Yeah, I'm digging that. All right. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube right now. Yeah. And I think this is WNDC, NDC. And I'm on another laptop. And so I'm just trying to get used to this.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but I'm on live. And I'm on live with my cuz, my man Jeff. Hey, Jeff, do you remember that one thing I was talking to you about that you were, that you said earlier that I said that I'd like to get that, on there. In the past episode of one of my little blogs, I spoke.
The Black Race of People or the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. All of that.
And we do it as a non-profit organization.
Yeah.
And get,
Well, no, that ain't what I was looking for. Yeah, we can get to that. We can get to that. Man, I am fucking up, man. I don't know. All right, yeah. All right, so check us out.
Yeah.
So I had this video that I talked about, this dream kind of thing that I was playing around with, where you woke up one morning, and you walk into the bathroom, to do your regular thing, and you walk past the mirror, and you look over, and for some reason you swear up and down, damn, the fuck is that? That looked like Jesus. And you looking, but then you raise your head and you going, nah, that's my reflection. Hold up. And so you turn on the light and you're like, well, just damn. Kind of like, you remember the movie Watermelon Man or whatnot? That was Melvin Van Peebles' movie too, where, the white dude woke up in like the 50s or 60s era or something like that. Right. And he was black. And then, the more that you start realizing he's probably going to never go back to white again. And nobody's ever going to believe that he was ever white. the whole transition. Now, peep this, though. All right. The same thing, only different, so all of a sudden, you start freaking out about the fact that, all right, you go and, do everything. And you keep coming back. And everywhere you look, you start noticing that it's you. It's apparent that it's you, and you still see you in there, but your reflection is like, that's Jesus. And so you start freaking out to the point that you don't want to really tell a whole lot of people because they're going to think you crazy. And then all of a sudden on the news, they say, ladies and gentlemen, we hear tell that there's a guy who says he's Jesus and he's back and he's about to throw a welcoming back party of all parties free of charge for everyone who knows, that they are, that they are his people. See what I'm saying now?
Well, that's a premonition.
No. Listen what I'm saying. Let me go with the premonition. This will be a movie just like Sweetback. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I'm talking about all this in the same black exploited image that you remember you said something about, no, I remember Mario Van Peebles saying something about how when black people or people of color start seeing more images of something that they've never been allowed to see, slowly but surely, they're more capable of doing what everybody else wishes they could do, that the people that are doing it have been doing just because they haven't been, just because they haven't been us. We didn't get a black president. We got an African-American president. His wife was black. Do you understand what I'm saying? And bro, you don't understand. Remember when you were talking about how, the biggest problem we got about black folks is the fact that there's so many different subgroups of us that we never can be black together. You understand what I'm saying? We're black and, you see what I'm saying? Black when it's convenient, but a person of color. I tell people I live in Washington, D.C., and from the first brick, it's been a black person, that has been here 200 years. And yet there is no embassy for black people. There's an embassy for every other person of color here. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, it's like, you know, people drive down the street and they see a crowd of black folks at the corner, you know, but then all of a sudden they wonder why the cops don't come over there, but they don't realize that everybody over there has got diplomatic immunity.
Well, see, they need to pass a bill for that. Man.
You know, well, no. That's what just happened. This Juneteenth thing changed so many things that so many people have really honestly wished.
You think eventually it'll be a black embassy?
Well, eventually there'll be no need for embassies of people of color, and they'll all be more, you know, connected by something other than just, I mean, technically speaking, we'll still be black longer than people will actually even feel the need to claim whatever white is. White was invented. See what I'm saying? White was invented, and it was invented here. And so many of the things that they, by the time that the rest of the earth realized that they were pulling some shit here, it took us until lately for us to get to a point where there's no more of that second-class segregated thing outside of the mere fact.
It's more black pride.
Outside of, well, not necessarily, because, see, you have to understand, with freedom comes great responsibility. And the problem here, more than anything else, is that all of the things that we have been conditioned to believe, like, you know, like that's white folk stuff. Like that's not stuff that we do, or this, that, and the other. And you couldn't even believe that you had any descendants of Egyptian or Egyptology at all when they were feeding us the Black Bible as the first book. No, as the first book we've ever read, or that they ever know. Even if there were more people who couldn't read who had a Bible. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they could tell you word for word what everything was in that Bible because they had it marked down where they said it. No, listen to what I'm saying. It's not tampered. They said it was the miseducation of the Negro. And really, honestly, now we're 2021. And we're starting to realize that it's not a bad thing, but it's really a real thing, because everyone here and around the rest of the world, until the ability for us to have access to search engines, you feel what I'm saying? You know, there was not that much or that many people, you know, that were, you know, capable of accessing that much more information. You know, like I said, do you understand what I'm saying? Well, but actually, a resident and a resident owner is more of what is needed than leaders or followers. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're all investors. We're all in this together. This is a one world perspective that was scary as anything else to every last race and genre of people until now. Now everybody wants to be this one thing, but in order for them to do that, it's going to require them to also release a certain supremacy or identity that they've always felt the belief that it needs to be recognized. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the hardest people to let that shit go are people of color, i.e., especially black folks. And they rightfully so have this kind of condition. Now, to really point out how deep that shit is that there is proof that at least some form of beings, you know, were capable of proving that it's in our DNA, you know, and it's come from the Jews were able to get the Holocaust and Israel just over the mere fact that they were capable of making the case that their exclusivity exists. Now we've got all of these different kind of subgroups of people of color. We got the 5%ers, the 4%ers, the 3%ers, the Masons, the Elks. You know, we got the the Yahwehs, we got the Hoteps, we got all this other stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying? We got the Jamaicans, we got the Trinidadians. Do you understand what I'm saying? We got the Voodoos and Hoodoos. We got all these other things. No, listen what I'm saying. And then we've got the Boule, right? But see, you know, and the Boule is like the last image of what the Boule would have believed himself to be is Bill Cosby and them. You know, there ain't none of that no more. Jay-Z and them ain't them. They ain't got no. Do you understand what I'm saying? But they're also in the same on the same earth, experience the same natural progression that that is organic. You know, where we're at the end of all things, and the hardest thing for but check this out, the hardest thing for your oppressor to be capable of doing is stop oppressing. Right, is stop oppressing a people who still believe that they deserve some form of special treatment, or consideration for having been mostly oppressed on this planet. Do you understand what I'm saying? The end of all things, summer solstice last year into the whole age of Aquarius thing, was so serious of an issue that our sleep patterns, our time, and everything else involved with that have shifted. We have had to have a worldwide epidemic just to give people something to do as they've been evolving into these new directions that are undefined. But no, listen what I'm saying. But they're undefined, but they're due to be as equal as everything else on the straight level of if you rolling and you got it, and you rolling. This ain't about your peoples or my people. Well, check this out. This is like, people who knew what was supposed to be due when this age of Aquarius happened were those hippie people who are rich enough to be able to tune in and tune out because they truly believed that it was going to be in not just their lifetime, but when they were young, virile, and on the next level of inheriting their parents' power. You understand what I'm saying? Only to find out that shit didn't really start happening until 9/11. You understand what I'm saying? By that time, they had already had to go back and be good white and black folks for a couple more years, while everybody had to deal with the introduction of an ingredient that the Mayans had used to evolve from human form to sheer light, and that was gold, crystal, and coke. Now, not that it was something to be, everybody's got to do it, but it's something that occurred to the point where every last person who touched American money absorbed this, because at that point, the last chance that this Illuminati that we keep giving too much precedent for, actually had the power enough to try to ease their way into the big game, because we're now living in a time and era where this is the big game. This is what made, right, today, this kind of shit is what made people like Nostradamus lose his mind, because he was doing good all the way up until it got gray, all the way up. And it was just right after World War II, when that was the last time that, all of these people we call who they are now in our minds, actually became valid by stealing away pieces and parts and believing like Indiana Jones. They kept trying to run and race to find out all of the things that were going to only to be given any form of reality at eras and times. And they were always trying to, when the prophecy comes, we want to see what the book looked like, and nobody expected, our most valuable image and culture was black, not some other country, not Cuban or this, that, and the other. Every last person of value on this planet have been affected by the slow, gradual evolution and an invention
Yeah,
of
flying.
a human image that surpassed all other identifications and cultures. The only problem is, in order for that to occur, creates the same thing that we're talking about when we say, yeah, man, I wish black folk could do this, but there's too many of us that got too many opinions for us to actually agree on anything at all, because they've all been conditioned to believe that culture exists to a point where they're supposed to be haves and have nots, and they don't want to stop have nots. They don't, right, because ain't nobody really feeling all that, because even communism, is not control, it's manipulation. All of them are manipulation, because they always have to understand that. No, Trump gone, man. We ain't gonna talk about that Negro. No, listen what I'm saying here. This is beyond. This is beyond our image of what we believe our government, has a part of. We're in such a world perspective that that Eleanor Roosevelt, who was our first lady of, the most intricate person during that intricate time in, our history. You see what I'm saying? Was the first delegate from America in the UN when it was invented. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now the UN, the UN is like CDC. No, listen what I'm saying. The UN is like CDC. Now there's like, they call it CDC, it's just 3 letters, but no, it's actually the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and this and the other. But it's even deeper than that, because there's like almost 300 something, if not thousands, of other micro things that are now involved into this thing that in most cases is less powerful, to people who who are not capable of understanding, to whom. Go ahead.
Yes. Right now, okay.
Now remember, we on live on
I'm talking to you, man. Whatever.
Okay, come on.
Okay, see this the whole section.
All right. Where's that microphone?
Africa was really Libya, remember?
Uh-huh.
Liberia or Libya?
Yeah.
Liberia. Okay. The Italian guy, Afrikaners, took over Africa. That's why that's called that, right?
Right.
Now, the whole thing is spent in numbers. Remember the young dude they got now, you go back with that they pay the crowd show?
Oh, yeah. All right, well, check this out. All right. Funny you should say that, because I recall there was another group during that same time, that the same group actually that made their other song was Mean Machine. Now, listen what I'm saying. When you get a chance later on, go back and listen to it. Matter of fact, if you find a video, listen to it and look at the lyrics as it goes. And it talks about the Mean Machine. And the way it starts is automatic, push control, remote control, genetic, phonetic, will land your soul. Automatic, push button, remote control, genetic, phonetic, will land your soul. Automatic, push button. I mean, this happened. This is like a minute or two of the song. And then that's when it goes into all of these other twists and turns, with everything, including, and when it come time for the end, the man will dance like the women and the women dance like the man, and we will dance and draw a chance as they're doing this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's exactly where they're at. It's kind of like we danced and really tried to get all philosophical about all these people who talked about this is going to happen. Uncle George Clinton, right on point with all of this stuff. It's just that most people who were really into him were also really into a certain kind of life that they can't really get too extra deep, because like most people who talk about baby boomers, who talk about how, well, if you were really, in the scene and an adult and whatnot back in the 60s, the late 50s and 60s and 70s, then you can't remember all of that. It's not that they can't remember. It's that there were so many other things that were invested into it that it's become no different than a lot of people who were born in the late 70s to the 80s into the early 90s, who can't basically see the ultimate shift and everything, you know, at the point that our culture became overly exposed to coke and crack.
The way these guys dress now, they're like women, man.
Bruh, but let me tell you, and when it comes time to the end, the man was just like the women. Now, here's the deep thing. While many black people, many conservative-minded black people have more of a severe instinct towards disgust at the audacity of anything of that nature being allowed to exist in our own culture. Keep in mind that all the other cultures and races, you know, of people, you know what I'm saying, all had that issue, got it good, so far gone that the Greeks and the Romans, you see what I'm saying? You know, you go to Greece or Rome right now, you see what I'm saying? You see the Vatican, you know, you go over to Greece or any of those things, you still got people that are over there that ain't trying to have, right, but ain't trying to have none of that LBGT thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The chances of the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church, ever getting a gay pope.
They've been doing it.
No, I said an official. Do you understand what I'm saying? And yet, the Vatican actually went on record at stating several years ago, we've come to the conclusion that there's probably never going to be a return of Jesus. You can forget it. And yet their whole structure, but listen what I'm saying, but their whole structure, right, but their whole structure, but listen what I'm saying, but listen what I'm saying, but their whole structure is built around the second coming.
That's why he did the first time.
Bruh, but listen where I'm going with this. Let's get back to that black exploitative, you know, theatrical, you know, prophecy. You know, now imagine, you know, an era happened where it's not that this is something that's going to happen like blink. This is something. Okay, check this out. There was no such thing as bipolar back in the 60s and 70s. By the time that bipolar start becoming an issue from the late 60s, from the late 80s to, you know, to 2000 or whatnot, you know, it became triggering of, and just like the CDC, it became an umbrella for the identity of anything that's abnormally instinctive. No, exactly, all of that. Now peep this. No, stop, because I don't need for you to go side. Don't go side. Stay with me. Okay.
But guess what?
Everybody can't have everything right now. Listen.
Drugs are drugs, right?
No. Everything on this earth. No, listen. You know what you're doing right now? You see when you're talking? All that stuff you saying right now? That's that perpetrating or projecting, you know, a certain cultural expectations of negativity that no longer exist now. When people want to go, no, stop. Listen, instead of you having that statement as what the as is still today is such a new day. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? That even enslaved people, do you understand what I'm saying? Every enslaved person to this day benefits from the federal representation of what Juneteenth was. And all Juneteenth was is a bunch of doggone privileged black folk. You see what I'm saying? That marched all the way down to Texas to let a whole lot of people know. Now, Dick Gregory. No, listen. Hey, man. Hey, bruh. If you can't listen, you can't learn. You understand what I'm saying? It's the difference between what you're trying to say. No, it's the difference between what you're trying to say and the extra stuff that not only do I got what you're saying, but there's more. You understand what I just said? You see what I'm saying? But there's more. And as long as we've known each other, you've known that we've had more times than enough where we found ourselves like where we are right now, where the best part about us is that when we talked, you know, when I left your presence, you didn't feel lessened, you felt more. Do you understand what I'm saying?
In the world.
You know, yeah, and I'm in hell, the satanic amusement park that was built. No, listen what I'm saying. That was built.
You didn't sell out.
No, listen what I'm saying. That was built to basically be influential and being able to form this new formed world order of the ages that exists here more than anywhere else. And the reason why they can't give this place a star is because this place is owned by more of the people of the world.
DC got, all them signs, satanic stuff.
Bruh. But I'm trying to tell you. But listen. But what I'm trying to tell you is that a lot of that shit is so outdated that when they tried to think that they were going to get in the game to build it, they fucked up some parts of it. And only people... No, listen. All of that. No, listen. All of that. No, listen. That's different. All of that happened during the era of resurgence, which came after Reconstruction. Reconstruction freed us. Then all of a sudden they invented
Reformation.
Then all of a sudden they invented the birth of a nation. The birth of a nation was the birth of the identity of white. You understand what I'm saying? Now, do you understand what I'm saying? After that was Reconstruction. Reconstruction was them going at the term of Reconstruction. The first part of listen. The first part of Reconstruction. Listen, man, you're gonna miss it.
And they thought they was raping the white women, but you got needles coming right and Coca-Cola and all that. Oh man,
bro, all of those people had their time at a time that wasn't time like time is now.
It don't work.
And all of them thought. No, listen. All of those. No, look, bro. Bro, check this out. Did you hear about this case out in Oregon? This brother out in Oregon was at a bar, and he happened to go up to this white chick, and just compliment her. And then she was like, "Thanks, but I got a boyfriend." She's like, "That's cool." You see what I'm saying? "I got a man," and she's like, "That's cool." And then all of a sudden, later on, he was back around her again, and he complimented her again. At this point, her boyfriend decided he wanted to have beef, and of course, it got to some fists. And then when it came back and stopped, you know what I'm saying? The boyfriend decided, you know what? Fuck this. He pulled a gun out of his waist and shot the dude. And then the chick that he was giving compliments to turned around and went live and made a video where they was all talking about, some nigga shit at the same time that none of them were really pressed about trying to save his life as he lay there dead or dying. And everybody in the bar was like, another one gone. Another one bites the dust kind of shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? And at first, everybody thought that they were going to get away with it until that video come out because her dumb ass put it out because, of course, they think that everybody thinks like they think.
Oh, yeah.
That's the reason why the best thing that happened to us was January 26th, when all of a sudden everybody rushed into the motherfucking Capitol and did some shit and never been done. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden you start seeing that a lot of the motherfuckers, that really had built a certain kind of power, they thought.
I got to go, man.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
One.
Peace. Yeah. And so, to conclude with that is, and a lot of them, we've got lots of streams of, a lot of them having to find out a very uncomfortable thing. They come, they visit, they can afford to come all the way down here to make their doggone presence known and show their whole ass and then go back to try to think that they're going to fly back home and whatnot. And being pulled off the plane and so on, you are now on no-fly list. You are not allowed to travel. And they're like, I got enough money, man. Nope. And that's something that didn't exist with white folks who had money enough to travel and go up to, the nation's capital and show their whole ass and make it known. Birth of a Nation gave them that kind of balls, and droves, and all you had to do is put on the same colored uniform, and nobody would see you differently. But black folks, that's why I like, Dave Chappelle, because, that one skit about the black, blind, racist Klansman is hilarious. But here we are. And now it's gone surpassed just our color and our racism and this, that, and the other, because now all of the people who have struggled and feared that this whole bipolar crazy instinct was a deficit, a disability, are now, unaware of the mere fact that it's more normal for us to report how bipolar our planet and everything on it is, and how we've talked about how, this wobble is going to happen in little spurts, and these retrogrades and whatnot are flying out from everywhere, and there's going to be shit that's going to be happening that you're not even going to believe, and it could be epidemic, and then something else, and then something new, and this has been something that every time that it happens, we lose so much of something we thought would never change. And our next step is Star Trek. But what we are not really quite, aware of how conflictive that is with our genetic instincts is the mere fact that, it wasn't just about the black and the white folks on Star Trek. It was about James T. Kirk. And James T. Kirk was known for, being so manly that he even messed with the green chick with the 3 titties. And none of the white guys, toxic white guys during the feminist era, took an assault. Oh, I'm insulted by that. I don't think y'all really get where we're at in 2021 right now. I don't think you really understand how just decades ago, back in, the era where we didn't have so much access to options, people knew that these times were going to be changing and the end of the world was coming, and that you better get right with whoever you follow, or by faith or whatnot, because you would not want to be left behind. And a lot of the hopes and the fears and conspiracies that are coming with so many other things are driven by so many other valid arguments in their soul regionally, that many of them are incapable of even entertaining what I'm saying here by way of, being a part of a prophecy that initially seemed to be offensive. Everybody talks about they want to be free, but freedom cost, and what if, the cost of freedom is the loss of all that you believe yourself to be, that others aren't. And where we're at right now is the mere fact that while nobody wants to be black, not even black people, the reality is that it's been harder for black people to realize how difficult instinctively through our genetics to that they have the power, but it's not as big of a they as we would love to have. And yet now many fear the Illuminati, who's grown dim, and yet we're starting to shine so brightly that we're getting more uncomfortable with this, because we don't want to have this much responsibility with it. We want to be rich, but we don't want to be charitable. We don't have a plan for world peace, for the end of all suffering. We don't have a desire to make things right now. for everyone, because the last thing we want to do is to be a part of the possibility that while the argument of all religions has always been uncomfortable with the identity of their supreme messenger being a person of color, but black, and we're living in an evolution that's fueled by black exploitation. Have mercy. And this sweet, sweet back moment has been brought to you by Answer Easy, active dominant in the BDSM lifestyle, Easy, Hafiz, Baba Easy, some other things. Grown ass black man, pimpishly proud. And if you find any of this to be entertaining, enlightening, or other, please feel free to find my Cash App that I'm going to try to edit, put the information in there soon. And donate, because I can't be here without the help of many people who value my existence. So you good?